Robinhood is making its second attempt to release a high yield savings account similar to banks. Now, let me know in the comment section if this is something you could see yourself using in the future. If you guys are new here to the channel, you don't really know what it's about, I talk about all things investing with my tips, tricks, and insight into the stock market. So if you're looking to increase your portfolio size, then make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on that bell notification so you can be alerted when new content gets released. So like I said, Robinhood, the highly popular app that allows free trades on the stock market, is trying to go back into the banking realm. Now, 10 months ago, they actually announced a very similar service that had been rejected due to different regulations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video, and I'm going to be talking about whether or not I think it's worth it to be getting this kind of checking card and the savings account that Robinhood is offering. So just getting into a little bit about the facts of what was released recently. Now, we know all of this is highly competitive in the market because other applications and other brokerages are offering free trade now, like Charles Schwab. I did a whole entire video on this in my last video, so I'm going to put a link to that if you missed it. But essentially, this kind of banking and finance realm of all these applications is just increasing the level of competition, and Robinhood is striking back, and they're not having it, and they're trying to capitalize on some of the advantages that they can see in the market that is going to give them a competitive advantage over some of the other companies. So what they announced was actually a cash management account with a 2.05% interest rate. Now that is an APY of more than 20 times higher than the national average. So this is a really great rate, and that's according to bankrate.com. Now, people who are interested in Robinhood and follow along with the news of Robinhood might be thinking to themselves, this is deja vu, because way back in December, they actually came out saying that there was going to be a zero fee checking and savings account boasting a 3% interest rate. So even higher than what they're offering now, but still among competitive rates. Now, the move was seen as a shot to the entire traditional banking industry as a whole. So you can see that a lot of these different companies didn't take well to what this had been released as. And this is where a lot of the regulatory bodies got involved, who questioned the SIPC insurance that it was promising. And this was because it was more tailored towards brokerages and not necessarily for savings. After they announced that they were coming out with this, that very next day, they said that they would rebrand and they would rename the product after the confusion that they had caused. So upon the new announcement, the CEO came out with saying, over the past year, we pressed the reset button and started building this from scratch. We spent a lot of time and energy on our business and hired all-star casts of people with financial services and risk compliance backgrounds. So they made a bunch of moves within their own personnel and their operations teams, and this was definitely seen as a positive move for Robinhood and a great way to bounce back towards those who are skeptical of them moving forward. Now, there are definitely some noteworthy names to keep in mind when you think about the additions Robinhood has been making. One of them would be Jason Warnick. Now, Jason joins us from Amazon, and he's going to be operating on the Robinhood team as the first ever Chief Financial Officer. So as they're expanding, they need some new roles. CFO is one. Now, filling the role at COO or Chief Operating Officer, they decided to go with someone with a background at Google, and that would be Gretchen Howard. So now they have a new CFO, a new COO, but they didn't even stop there. On Monday, Robinhood announced that former SEC Commissioner Dan Gallagher will join Robinhood's team and basically be a part of the Robinhood Board of Directors. And lastly, they brought on a new risk compliance team. They added a VP of risk compliance, and basically that team has been working tirelessly, long days, long nights, to try and get everything well and set regulatory wise for the Robinhood team. Important to keep in mind is that these are cash management accounts, so they're very similar to savings accounts, and essentially they sweep customers' money and they take it from a brokerage account into various FDIC insured bank accounts. And because the firm deposit the money into different banks across the entire spectrum of banking, there is a $250,000 insured policy per bank. And in Robinhood's case, there are 5 different banks that are included, so you're getting $1.25 million insured. Now, this is where they were tripping up before because they actually weren't able to fully insure the money that people were putting into the accounts. And that way it seemed kind of schemy and gimmicky on their part because it seemed like they were going to have all this protection for your money when in reality that wasn't really the case. They were calling it checkings and savings accounts before when they didn't really have the right to do so. Now, like I said before, this boasts very well for Robinhood in this highly competitive market because they are looking at ways to diversify their revenue stream. And by adding this option, they're able to capitalize on a whole nother part of the market that they weren't really able to tap into before. And this is sort of what they need to start doing in order to remain competitive. And they need to keep making investing, savings, and creating bank accounts and whatnot easy for beginners because that's really their target market. And they're essentially trying to break down the walls of investing. That way everybody can invest on a fair and equal playing field. Now, it's really, really amazing to look at Robinhood and think that this company that hasn't been around too long really changed the game of investing. I mean, before people were paying upwards of $7 on trades in the stock market, and they completely eliminated that. And now it's going to be like the new normal is going to have no trading fees. So Robinhood did a really good job at disrupting the market and forcing a change. And they were a first mover in that category. So really hats off to Robinhood there. And I hope that they have a strong financial future and that they can remain, staying in business and whatnot. So actually what I'm going to do right now is jump into the Robinhood app and just show you a little bit what's been going on with the Robinhood challenge and just talk a little bit more about that Robinhood account and the card that you might be able to get. So as I have the app pulled up right now, you'll notice that with the update of your Robinhood app, there is a little card icon in the bottom here. It's second from the left. So if you click on that, it brings you right to that cash management account. Now, if you haven't already signed up for your account, you can do so right in here. Something really interesting that I learned today, you can see I'm 18,000th in line right now. And something really interesting that I learned is if you tap it, you can see that a message comes up right here for me that says tapped out. You're all out of taps. Come back tomorrow if you're feeling tappy. Essentially, I think I did about 925 taps today where I just sat on my app and all you do is keep on clicking and clicking and clicking that card. You can see in the background it's moving there as I'm tapping. But essentially what that does is put you one spot higher in line. So if you're way back there, you're 100,000 or whatever, just come back every day and just do those taps and you'll jump about 900 each time as long as it remains consistent. So that's something very interesting. Would highly recommend doing if you're really wanting to get this card. Now it comes with a couple different options and I think all of these cards look great. I can't show you the other options on this app right now, but I'll flash some images across the screen just so you can see what I'm talking about. They're really sleek looking cards and they look awesome. So essentially, this is the card here that I ordered. I went with the green one. I'm waiting to sign up for it, and obviously I'm on the waiting list now. So here's all the information about it. You can see it's FDIC assured, earn 2.05% APY, flexible spending, and then they have more than 75,000 ATMs that you can use this around the world. So really cool right there. And for me, I think this is going to be awesome. I just want to get my hands on it at least. I'm not sure how frequently I'll use it, but I just, this is a great looking card and it's something that I'm interested in getting, and I'd love to do an opening of this card too. So I definitely signed up for it and I will keep you posted on my account. Check back here. I don't know how long this is going to take. Could take a few weeks, could take a couple days, could also take months for me to get this card. So it'll be interesting. I'll definitely link the video once I make that to this portion of the video if you want to see that. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Robinhood challenge here and just some of the moves that I have been making this past week. So jumping into this, you can see today wasn't really a great day. It started to shape up, but then at the very end of the day, come 2:45, it seemed to tank down. So I was up at one point, but ended up losing about $12 on the stock market. This past week, also down about $14. And then the past month, we are down 0.54% or about $10. And 3 months, we're still positive, a little bit over 1%. So not as great of numbers as we've been seeing in the past. But the focus of this portfolio is to get that return in the long run. So we're not necessarily looking at the 3-month trend, 1 month. We're looking at much longer periods of time. As you can see in the past year, I'm up 146%. So that's really great numbers right there. Hopefully that continues to go up over the allotted time period. But so jumping into the first purchase I made over the last week, I actually went against my own advice and decided to invest in Charles Schwab. Now, I said I wouldn't be investing in these because I wanted to see how the market kind of leveled out with the release of them having free trades and all these other information that was coming out regarding the competitiveness of the market. Now, the reason why I elected to go with Charles Schwab as opposed to other accounts that are out there or other brokerages that might be affected by this was essentially I looked at their drop. It was down about 12% in the past month, and a lot of this was just allotted to that information that was coming out. So harsh decline there. And what I learned about Charles Schwab as opposed to a lot of the other brokerages is that they actually are less affected by offering free trades than a lot of those other companies. So their revenue that they got from people trading stocks was just about 8% when others were upwards of 30% or higher. So it was just a good idea. I think if you're looking to invest in one of those brokerages that were affected by all this news, Charles Schwab is definitely a solid option. Obviously, you're going to want to do your own research into these stocks, but that's what I decided to go with. So I did pick up 2 shares of this at an average cost of $35.69. So I'm down about 1.3% right now on that, but it was a nice pickup for me. And then they obviously have a dividend yield. Every single stock that I invest in this portfolio has a dividend yield. So theirs is 1.11%. So not the highest dividend yield by any means, but definitely still a solid pick there. So just talking a little bit about more things I did. I actually got 2 more shares of Prospect Capital. I talked a lot about Prospect Capital in my last Robinhood Challenge update. Essentially, they are a monthly dividend paying company, and whenever I have excess money that I don't really know where I want to put it, because Prospect Capital is so cheap, this is the company that I want to focus on those investments in. So I might be down 1.55%, and I think that we'll see this number actually continue to go down for a little bit. But the thing is, I'm going to be getting those monthly dividend payments, and essentially it's going to balance out what's going on with that investment there. So that's pretty interesting. I believe I got 1 share of HPQ because they have just been going down and down in value. And I still think, you know, over the past week, I mean, you see this huge jump right here. They were down 10%. They're kind of restructuring their company. I think it's a decent time to get into HP. They've always been a dominant player, and I just want to continue to hound into them and dollar cost average my way down. You can see that my average right now is $18.26. So obviously going to continue to drive that price down right there. Now, those were my big moves this week. I believe that was pretty much what I got into. Schwab took up a lot of that because it was around $70 of my investing. So that's where I'm at right now. Just so you guys can see my total return on all of these stocks here, you can see that majority of them are still positive and some of them are finally going negative. So it took a little bit of time here, but the portfolio overall is still doing well as a whole. And what we're looking more towards is just those dividend histories. So you can see that my next dividend coming in will be on October 15th when I will be receiving a realty income dividend. So realty income right here, definitely the powerhouse of this portfolio. I'm up nearly $34 on them. So doing super well with this one. And I just want to continue that in the future. So really interesting things coming out for Robinhood. Having a lot of fun with this portfolio that I've got to construct for you guys and just show you my growth along with, you know, some of the bad days that are coming and some of the good days. And I think that we have a long ways to go for this dividend growth portfolio, but I want to thank you for sticking along, watching the journey. And if you're interested in it, thank you for all of the support. I love all the comments I read, every single one. I get back to all you guys. So if you do enjoy the series, then make sure you drop a like on this video. And if you have any questions regarding the Robinhood account that they've now offered, now just leave that in the comment section below. Ask me any questions you want, and then show me some of that support. Smash that like button, really helps with that YouTube algorithm, and I just love seeing the overwhelming responses from you guys coming out. Also, follow me on Twitter or Instagram at DLitzTV, starting to beef up my presence on those accounts. So thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you have a great day.